Welcome back to New Rockstars. It's me, MT, and this is a breakdown of Moon Knight Episode 3 that made my mind melt, mate. Like, oh my days, oh my moon gods, what is going on? Like, guys, are you seeing what I'm seeing right now? Do you know the possible ramifications that the events of this episode could mean for the future of the MCU? Guys, the entire planet went back in time 2,000 years. I'm sorry my voice is like this, but this is a big deal. All right, I'm gonna get into what this huge event could mean for the MCU a little bit later, but for now, let us get into all the juicy hidden details that you missed from this visually incredible entry in Steve Grant's wild, mind-bending mystery. And hey, before I continue, make sure to hit up newrockstarsmerch.com so that you can find all of our new cool Moon Knight hoodies and shirts, and all of our cool Moon Knight stuff are there. Just head on over to newrockstarsmerch.com so that you can look cool and wear some cool shirts like this. And remember that this latest Obsession shirt is not going to last forever, so pick it up immediately because it's going to sell out. All right, I love how right off the bat, the episode starts us off with a cut from black that starts off blurry but gets more clear, revealing Layla having her pictures taken for fake illegal IDs. Like, what a great cinematography choice by series director Mohammed Diab and series director of photography Gregory Middleton, because it feels like the audience is waking up from that blackness to an unfocused blurriness, like eyes first waking up and then revealing Layla in focus, very much intentionally reflecting the overall theme of Mark Spector and Stephen Grant constantly waking up from blackouts a little bit disoriented themselves. And the fact that we begin outside of Mark or Stephen's point of view, which is rare for the series, tells us that there is some legitimacy to his experience, or that Layla might also be experiencing the delusion. And then we get a look at Layla's fake passport to the Arab Republic of Egypt, with the information being edited on a computer screen by a close family forger friend of Layla's, stating that Layla's full name is actually Layla Abdallah El-Faouly, and that she was actually an Egyptian born in Cairo on October 28, 1994, on a day when the moon was actually in its waning crescent phase, I might add, which is quite interesting considering Layla's personal choice of murder jewelry in the form of a shoulder-stabbing crescent-shaped necklace, which might just hint at a possible family connection with the moon god Khonshu himself, as that necklace could be a family heirloom of sorts. I mean, her middle name Abdallah does mean flower of the god after all, so maybe that's a clue there. And then we learn that this fake passport has an issue date of May 29th, 2019, which heavily implies that Layla herself was not snapped by Thanos in Infinity War, which is also the same case for Mark Spector, as we see from an earlier episode's passport as well. Though we can't 100% take this as a reliable source, since this is a fake ID after all, being faked again by a close family friend of the El-Faouly's, played by Barbara Rosenblatt, who is no stranger to comic book TV shows, as she recently appeared on the TV show Gotham as Lydia Biscieri, the bar owner of Lydia's Bar. And guys, while Mark Spector is exploring the sands of Egypt, you can explore millions of champion combinations and master countless tactics in a game that is taking over mobile gaming, Raid Shadow Legends. Use the links below to download Raid to your mobile phone or PC. Let's talk about a few of my favorite champions in the game, because we got the Royal Guard, and the Royal Guard is one of the heaviest hitters in all of Raid. His damage scales on enemy HP, so he's a huge nuker against bosses. And Cardiel is a great champion for the arena. He boosts the damage dealing of the rest of your team and protects them from dying, which is clutch, and he also looks like a cool battle angel, which I really dig. And this year is Raid's 3-year anniversary, and they've introduced new champion skins so that you can alter your look of your favorite champions, and they've got a lot of big events coming up, so stay tuned for that. And this is the best time to get started in Raid, and if you click my link in the description box below or scan my QR code here on the screen, you'll get a free starter pack worth almost $40. Like, we're talking 3 champions at once. We got Misericord, we got Tiger Scout, and we got Romero, plus 100 magic XP brews, 10 force XP brews, and 100 spirit brews. That's a lot of brews, that's huge. And all of this treasure will be waiting for you here. And it's that easy. Just click the link in the description and I'll see you in the game. And while Layla is talking to this forging family friend, she reveals to her that her and Mark Spector once had a place together not 20 minutes away from Steven's current apartment, where Nemo II is almost assuredly floating at the top of that tank, because he has not gotten food for a very long time. Which could be a reason why Mark Spector could have chosen this location to hide out in the first place as Stephen Grant, probably to remind him of the love that he's been forced to leave behind as this new Fist of Khonshu. And Layla also reveals that it's been 10 years since her last visit to her homeland of Cairo, which is curious to me considering that she does note later on in the episode that her name isn't the most popular around those parts.
You should be here.
Why? Because my name pisses off a few people in Cairo?
So I'm very curious to learn what exactly happened within her family's history to cause all the locals to be giving a family of archaeologists the side eye. I mean, she had to be gone for 10 years for a reason after all. But it might just have to do with Layla's current profession as a type of ancient artifact Robin Hood figure that steals from the antique collecting underground to return those various valuable pieces of history back to their respective cultures, as she believes all of these artifacts to be stolen. A completely not wrong belief also shared by a former antique collector, Erik Killmonger, during his totally normal field trip to a museum that wasn't at all a robbery. And because we know that she deals with black market antiques, this might just mean that she knows the power broker from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, who we already know loves antiques and all like paintings and all that stuff. So I do expect Sharon Carter to pop up at some point this season, especially since the pirate country Madripoor is literally name dropped a little bit later in the episode.
After Madripoor, I'm sure you two will have a lot to talk about.
Then the two ladies reminisce about Layla's late father, who was an archaeologist that apparently brought his daughter along on all of his digs, possibly alluding to the dead archaeologist hinted at in the last episode. This, of course, sounding extremely similar to the circumstances of comic Mark Spector's love interest, Marlene Alaran, whose father was gunned down by a crazy mercenary named Bushman during Mark's origin story in the comics. But we also learn from this forger lady that Layla's father liked to call Layla his little scarab, possibly linking Layla and her family to the series MacGuffin, the Golden Scarab, leading to the greatest treasure of all, Robin Williams in the Cave of Wonders. What? Just kidding, that's another Disney-owned franchise. I mean, the Tomb of Ammit. Like maybe Layla was always meant to be Ammit's true avatar. Who knows? And then we get the Marvel Studios logo coming in set to some really dope Middle Eastern trap music by DJ Kaboo called Enta, which is actually a bop and a dope way to hint at the faithful portrayal of a modern day Cairo that Moon Knight director Mohammed Diab was extremely keen on delivering, even going as far as calling Egypt's depiction in Hollywood media like, Wonder Woman 1984 disgraceful. His words, not mine. I haven't even seen Wonder Woman 1984, so I can't even hate on that movie. And you know what? After watching how beautifully and differently this episode of Moon Knight captures the vibrant excitement of a 21st century Cairo in a way that I've never seen before personally, this director might just know what he's talking about, because Cairo looks dope as hell in this show. But anyways, when we first meet Arthur Harrow following the Golden Compass to his favorite crocodile queen, I could not help but get the image of Moses guiding his own people through the deserts of Egypt in the Judaic scriptures, with the figure of Moses often being drawn as a prominent figure in red. Much like Arthur Harrow seems to be the only person wearing red amongst this group in the desert. I feel like that's a very intentional design choice. And when we first meet Mark this episode, he's doing exactly what Layla thought he was doing and trying not to get himself killed running around Cairo.
He's probably going to get himself killed running around Cairo.
And when Mark gets into a fight with some dramatic knife fighting guys, with the lead one even tossing a knife up to the camera like some sort of cool guy, giving us a slow-mo zoom in of that knife throw that reminds me of the Wasp dodging knives in the kitchen in Ant-Man and the Wasp. But then we get some really dope knife combat back in the MCU since the amazingness that was that Winter Soldier knife fight from many moons ago, with that alpha thug taking the lead being the actor Jaleel Nasiri, who is showing us some of that amazing knife skill that made Liam Neeson sweat during that final battle in the first Taken movie. And then we see Mark even pulling a punch before choosing to slap this young thug over here, which sort of calls back to his other personality's conversation with Arthur Harrow's last episode when he brings up his blatant objection to hurting children.
What about a child? Would she kill a child for something they might do in 30 years? I kind of draw a line there at child murder.
So even though these two are separate personalities, it seems like they have very similar values.
Take him to the ledge.
He's just a kid.
And after Mark blacks out in the middle of that roof fight, we get our first look at waking up from a personality switch from Mark's perspective, as Steve tries to book it out of Egypt in a cab, which, I don't blame him. He's like, all right, I'm in another country again. Time to go home. I love how he's just nonchalant about like, I did it again. And I thought it was absolutely hilarious when we get the cab driver a little later yelling, "Where's my money?" to Moon Knight, as it felt like it could have been like a slight nod to the famous Moon Knight meme of Mark Spector yelling, "I know you're here, Dracula, you big nerd, where's my goddamn money?" And then one of the biggest what the moments of the show happens when Mark actually catches up with those culty roof thugs on the street and gets bumped on the head twice. Once by a thug with a blunt object, and once again after his head lands hard on the ground, which seems to cause him to wake up from the actions of an entity that is neither Mark or Steven. A version of Mark who seemingly didn't care about getting the information Mark needed out of these people. He just killed them. Literally everyone but this young boy gets gutted by this this mysterious new personality. A personality that I hope and believe to be that of Jake Lockley, the street-smart New York cab driver who has, up until this point, been largely absent in the series. And with Moon Knight's mirror cinematography seemingly hinting at 3 personalities hidden inside this one Mark body, this actually may up ending being the case, as that would be extremely comic book accurate. And of course, before this young boy cuts his red scarf to meet the base Ammit in the sky, he says,
Praise Ammit.
much like the agents of MCU's first main cult, Hydra, would yell, "Hail Hydra," before they committed suicide.
Hail Hydra!
And then went directly to hell because they were Nazis. But hey, speaking of this boy's scarf, a really interesting design detail that I've been noticing with the Moon Knight series is that a lot of Mark and Steven's enemies seem to be adorned in this particular shade of red. You know, this boy's scarf and hair, the cops that stopped by Steven's house, the goons that shot at Steven in Germany, and also Arthur Harrow himself. Hell, even Midnight Man was wearing red, particularly a shade of red similar to that of the Scarlet Witch and her chaos magic, which Arthur has hinted could be playing a factor between both him and Mark. So all of his servants choosing this shade could be indicative of some chaos magic influence in the series. But anyways, Khonshu finally gives us some details about how Moon Knight's healing armor is able to give him a healing factor that rivals Wolverine, with both Mark and Steve proving this by taking several pulls to the torso without passing away during their battle at Mogart. A battle that reminded me so much of Peter Quill in Avengers Infinity War when Steve Grant calls timeout and tells everyone to chill the F out.
We're all worked up. Let's all just like chill the F out.
Everybody stay where you are, chill the F out.
But anyways, when Mark and Khonshu have their conversation on the cliffside, Khonshu reveals the one thing in the universe that he fears, the wrath of the Council of Gods, which Khonshu later has to face through his avatar inside the Great Pyramid of Giza, one of the 7 wonders of the world, which secretly doubles as a council room for the pantheon of Egyptian gods, as 9 seats for each god avatar can be seen. Though only 5 of the 9, Isis, Tefnut, Osiris, Hathor, and Horus show up for Khonshu's trial after he literally moved the moon to make an eclipse to make this meeting even possible. And Yatzil, avatar to the goddess of music and love, Hathor, played by Native American actress Diana Bermudez, also hints at a hidden, potentially romantic past between Hathor and Khonshu when she says,
She says it was not so long ago Khonshu enjoyed Hathor's melodies.
As far as I know, the only melody Khonshu enjoys is the sound of pain.
which does make sense considering that Khonshu and Hathor have had a romantic past in Egyptian mythology. And considering that Khonshu is the god of the moon and Hathor is also, in addition to music and love, the goddess of the sky, these two were a match made in heaven, literally made in the heavens of the sky, because you can't have the moon without the sky. But yeah, guys, I don't know about you, but I do not trust Hathor at all. Like 0%. Not her avatar. Her avatar seems nice. Especially when this flash of white colored light seems to appear over Harrow's head right before Hathor leaves the mind of Yatzil. Check that out. Slow it down. I definitely feel like the goddess Hathor and Harrow are in cahoots. Like, you can't trust nobody with an H in the front of their name in this show, okay? I have this feeling that because this goddess of love's love for Khonshu, she could actually be the true villain of this series, trying to create a heaven on earth so her and her banished former lover Khonshu could live together on and look at the stars together forever. Because, like I said, Hathor is the goddess of the sky, and the sky and the moon are always meant to be together no matter what, which could be why Khonshu says that he remembers every night, because he is remembering his love for the sky, or Hathor. But anyways, when the leader of the group, Horus, says,
"You've been banished once for nearly exposing us, Khonshu, and you know we despise your garishness, your showy masks and weapons."
we learn that not only do these gods really have no love for Khonshu, but they're also not ones to have actively violent, flamboyant avatars with moon-themed weapons running around the earth, very much implying that, for now, Moon Knight is the only avatar of his kind. Though I do suspect that Arthur Harrow will end up becoming the Shadow Knight who is in the comics, and, you know, basically just an evil Moon Knight. And we also learn that these gods have all abandoned mankind because mankind has abandoned worship of them, with Khonshu claiming that all of these gods are living in opulence in a place called the Overvoid, better known in the Marvel Comics as the Celestial Heliopolis, a pocket dimension outside the main Marvel universe where the Ennead be ballin' in paradise, something that both Khonshu and Thor 4's Gorr the God Butcher share a problem with, because Gorr does not like that the gods do not help mankind out at all. But anyways, when Mark and Layla are on that purple tinted boat ride catching up, we get a tiny look into Mark's struggle with his mental illness, with him telling Layla that he's been struggling with it for a very long time, until something happened recently will cause him to lose the control that he's mastered over it over the years. With that something very likely being his first meeting with Khonshu, who probably messed with his brain chemistry. And we finally get a look at Gaspard Ulliel's Anton Mogart, also known as Marvel's Midnight Man, a villain in Moon Knight's Rogues Gallery who loved to steal valuable things, not for the money, but simply for the sake of having them, kind of like the Collector from Guardians of the Galaxy 1. And Mogart earns the title of Midnight Man in the comics simply because of his preference to strike at the dead of night at midnight for all of his crimes, which is why we see Khonshu saying tick-tock over a clock that just struck midnight at the very end of this incredible action sequence. And of course, the late Gaspard would have a tribute from Marvel at the very end of this episode. Rest in peace, buddy. And speaking of tick-tock on the clock, guys, I'm not sure if you missed this, but it kind of seems like Khonshu, in an effort to, return the stars to the position that they were 2,000 years in the past, when Senfu first marked the tomb of Ammit, thought that the only way to do that was to change the sky itself by turning back time, which could be the reason for the beautiful light show at the episode's end. It's literally the stars in the sky going back in time. And how exactly can Khonshu do this? By manipulating gravity, something that the moon is heavily associated with, and possibly why Khonshu was able to effortlessly cause an eclipse earlier on in the episode by moving the moon. And guys, if this is the case and the Earth has been sent 2,000 years into the universe's past, do you guys know what this means? This means that the Infinity Stones are back, Asgard is back, Xandar is back, Hela is back, Ego, the living planet, is back. The entire universe is just 2,000 years younger. Like, guys, in my opinion, this is potentially one of the biggest things to happen to the MCU since the snap. Mostly because we see Khonshu turned to stone before he can put this guy back where he found it. Like, man, oh man, can I not wait to see how this could potentially change the entire MCU game for Phase 4, because this is freaking nuts, man. Freaking nuts. And finally, we end the episode with the revelation that not only did Arthur Harrow truly enjoy hurting in the name of Khonshu, but that Khonshu was the very reason why he chose this weird path of healing, because Khonshu was the one who gave him a taste for blood and destruction. And he even goes as far as to thank the imprisoned Khonshu for his victory to come. And man, Ethan Hawke can act when you forget that he's straight up sassing a statue of a bird for like 60 seconds. But anyways, that is it for this breakdown of Moon Knight episode 3. What did you guys think of this episode? Like, do you guys think that I'm crazy and the Earth didn't actually go back in time 2,000 years? Because it looks like that's what happened. Let us know what you thought in the comment section below, my nerd babies, because I want to hear it. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. You can follow me at MasterTainment on Twitter if you want to see me tweet some really weird shit and really fun theories. More importantly, you can follow New Rockstars wherever we are on social media. Just make sure you hit that notification bell on YouTube so that you can get notifications whenever we upload a video, which is basically every day. And also, again, please hit up newrockstarsmerch.com so you can find our cool Moon Knight inspired merch, because it really helps the channel. If you love New Rockstars and you want to support us, this is literally the best way to do it. So head on to newrockstarsmerch.com today. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I love you guys so much, and I appreciate you guys always spending time with me. Seriously, I love you. See you guys next time. Bye.